You're live. Howdy there, true believers. Welcome back to New World Nerds. I'm Superman Nico, and in this live stream, we'll be talking about The Mandalorian, Chapter 12. So it's Season 2, Episode 4, The Siege. I'm just gonna wait a little bit to get you beautiful baby boys in the chat. Just tweeted it out. If you'd like to add people to the discussion, go ahead and tweet out the link, baby. And I'll give you a shout out or something. I mean, put in a comment, I'll give you a shout out anyways, probably. All right, how do you guys liking the new digs, the new setup? I just got the mic arm on, baby boys. I got the lights, boom. It's just a lamp just blaring in my face, and then look, oh that one's actually look at that, more light in my face. And then I just did a little bit on OBS, pulled out some cool wallpaper. You know the dealio. All right. All right. So it looks like we're sounding all nice and good. I'm just going to go ahead and take a little swig. So new setup a little bit, but to change it up, maybe I'm just going to give you my broad strokes of the episode. And we have a little spoiler warning now. I'm going to go ahead and add bloop. This is the spoiler wampa. If you see the spoiler wampa, that means we're talking spoilers. And if you haven't seen the episode, that means get out. So if you if you missed the episode, it's okay as long as you don't see the spoiler wampa. That spoiler wampa indicates that we will be talking about specific details about the Mandalorian and beyond. So, spoiler wampa's up, and spoiler wampa's going back into his little wampa cave. Before we get off, I'm just gonna take a little quick swig. I'm having a good time. I hope you guys are having a marvelous Mando Monday. That's what we got going here. Sorry I couldn't go live earlier. Sundays are for the boys, and Saturdays, well, were for the boys as well. Sorry, kind of went with the boys. By the boys, I meant Justin and our girlfriend. So those are the baby boys. Just a quick swig. Dank Ferric. All right, so we're just gonna jump right into it, guys. What do we got going on here? I wrote some notes this time, so maybe it'll be a little better. So Mando episode 4, right where we left off last time. They were on that water planet. A bunch of guys try to drown Baby Yoda, and Mando was saved by other Mandalorians, not as extreme as Mando's little cult over there. They actually took their helmets off, which was really cool because that makes Mandalorian, I don't know, he makes him one of those born again Christians, bro. He's just he's very religious, okay? So I have an idea, or there's been a theory floating around, starting from last week. The armorer, she has little horns on the top of her Mandalorian helmet from last season, and people are saying that she could be part of the Death Watch that followed Darth Maul in the Clone Wars. So that'd be really interesting, adding another layer and maybe a way for Maul to come back once again. I know he died in Rebels, okay, I know that, but you could always bring him back. You can always bring somebody back, or even maybe like a Force Sith ghost, if we've never seen one of those before. But we've also never seen a lot of the stuff from Disney Star Wars before, so it's completely fine. So the Razor Crest is limping on its way to Navarro because they need repairs. And they're like, hey, let's go back to the place that we were at last year. And so they all go and get some repairs from their friends Grieve Karga and Cara Dune. Definitely didn't have to look up what Carl Weathers' name was in this episode or just in the series. Speaking of Grieve Karga, a.k.a. Carl Weathers, he actually directed this episode. So that was really cool. I think he did an excellent job. I know there was a pretty big flub in the Imperial Base. There is a guy just with a member of the production crew in blue jeans with a little wrist watch, Irish wrist watch. And so he got caught. There's a little flub in this episode. I'm sure people will write that into canon somehow, but it's really not that big of a deal. People make mistakes, baby. Other than that, I thought the episode was really good. Episode was fantastic. It looked like a movie. Such a great look. I really did like this chase scene there at the end. I had a great time with this. It's very seldom in The Mandalorian where you get two back-to-back action-packed episodes, and that's exactly what we got. It's usually like action-packed episode where we spent all the money, and then just like a small episode. Like I'm surprised it's not like a bottle episode where they were just on the Razor Crest limping to Navarro. But I was really cool, very pleased with this episode. Very hyped for what's going to happen in episode 5. But before we go any further, let's just go ahead and put that spoiler wampa up. Spoiler wampa. Hold on. Spoiler wampa. I know that you guys are probably wondering, why are you here so early? And it's because I put some dang chicken in the oven. And I was like, well, I got to do this before, because if I wait till later, it might be weird, and I might go do the chicken thing. So just to avoid all that. Sorry, me having chicken for dinner isn't a spoiler. It's not. That's not why the spoiler wamp is there. So we kick off this episode, like I said, Razor Crest limping its way to Navarro, and we have Baby Yoda helping Mando repair the Razor Crest. That's kind of hard to say. And get major Baby Groot vibes from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But I thought this was so funny. They played it for laughs. I was a little worried because even though Baby Yoda is a fan of genocide, because he just eat the frog lady's babies, but I was still worried about him when he got electrocuted, and it looked pretty tough. But so he definitely understands a lot more than he knows. I think he was doing a really good job. But Mando kept saying blue and red wires, and so of course he was just going to put them both together. It's fine. It is what it is. I know the episode really kicked off with Cara Dune now being a sheriff and protecting the armory from earlier, going in, finding a ferret friend. Reminded me of Pabu from The Legend of Korra. And now Carl Weathers is basically running the continent, because later on in the episode, I know they don't say continents in Star Wars. They just say systems. Like, you don't realize how big a planet it is. Like, he's basically running a whole dang continent. Like, this place is safe except for this old Imperial base with just a skeleton crew, or does it have one? So they showed Mando, walked him around the town just to show him that, hey, it's really improving here. We're beating crime left and right. Cara Dune is the sheriff. I think they called her the Marshal. That just made me think of episode 1 with Timothy Oliphant. So I'm just like, is everyone just called the Marshal? Like the old gunslingers, just double downing on the Western motif. And they showed Mando a new school, and Yoda gets to go to class with a girl C-3PO teaching the class. She was just like an Easter egg spewing machine. Yoda steals some space macaroons from a guy that looks mysteriously a lot like how my dad looked when he was younger. I don't know what that means. Did Baby Yoda steal my dad's space macaroons? You son of a bitch. They're in the background when they're walking around the town. There also is an IG-11 statue, which I think is a good homage. Apparently, he's a hero for helping Mando and the crew take out the Imperial presence there on Navarro. This made me realize, like, how long has it been in between seasons and stuff like that? Has it been not that long, or has it been really long? Because this makes it seem like it's been a while. Like, that doesn't happen in a couple months, right? That happens in like a year or 2 years, something like that. I digress. It doesn't matter. So the New Republic seems to suck. At least that's what the vibe is from Grieve Karga. They're like, the Outer Rim should be left to govern itself. It's a lot like Texas in that aspect. There's a Coruscant reference because they're part of the Core Worlds, and that's where the Old Republic was, or the Republic before the Empire was. And now the New Republic is just stinking this back up. And they go and see Horatio Sands' character. He basically shits his pants when he sees the Mandalorian. Talks about how Mando paralyzed him. So this is another reason why people are just like, why wouldn't you want to be in the Star Wars universe? Because if you're anybody other than someone who's really important, it kind of just sucks living there. Bad stuff happens to you all the time. You could be minding your own business on Alderaan and it just straight up gets blown up. Like, nobody's safe. Nobody seems to be having a good time. Everything's so grimy, like maybe somebody in Coruscant, but that just seems like the capital, like from District 12 or from the Hunger Games. I don't want to be a part of that. I want to have that stuff on my conscience. Like, even if I am living good, I know the majority, like 90% of people are living like poopy, and that would just make me feel guilty all the time. Don't like the Star Wars universe, not one I'd like to live in. Sorry, I had to get that out. A little rant over. I guess you don't need You don't need the spoiler wampa on there for that, but there he is. They actually go to that Imperial base. They're like, hey, we dropped Baby Yoda at school, Mando. You have to come with us. So now we can take on that Imperial base. It just has a skeleton crew. Why are these people still working for them? I don't know. Like, I understand Moff Gideon is at work doing some nefarious things, but if it wasn't that, why would they still be there? It doesn't make any sense. I guess the structure of it, but stop doing that. It just doesn't really do anything for me. There's just like mindless people still doing it. I don't know. I feel like all the books in the expanded universes and even like The Force Awakens where Finn stops or defects, like it gives an extra layer to these like stormtroopers or people like that, the First Order troopers. And like now this is just doubling down. I don't know. It just bothers me still because they're not just like drones most of the time, but or in the expanded universe they're not, but in these they're always just dumb drones that can't hit the side of a barn. But so now they go to the Imperial base and they're using the same speeder that Luke used in A New Hope. I'm pretty sure Luke was picking up the babes there on Tatooine. He was going and picking up some power converters with his hood rat friends. But this time Horatio Sands, alien, the accountant, is helping them out. He's just, I don't understand. He seems in way over his head. Poor guy. I know he did some bad stuff, but hey, you guys are still being jerks to him. There are code cylinders in this base. That's been a pretty prominent thing in all the Imperial bases, going back to the original trilogy, to the sequel trilogy, and to Rogue One, stuff like that. So that's really cool. I don't know why you would need multiple cylinders. You could just like update the one that you have, and then we'd like know which one that was you, like a key fob basically. But whatever, it is what it is. There's no guardrails in the Imperial bases because obviously they don't care about the stormtroopers' lives. They're like, hey, go flip that switch. And it's like, nah, you still flip that switch. I'm not going to do it. And it seems like this Imperial base is actually a cloning facility. It's the scientific research division of the Empire. And even though the Empire has fallen, even though that's weird. But they get a recording from the scientist from season 1 that it was experimenting on Baby Yoda, on the child, stealing its blood. And apparently the trials haven't been super great because we see like a bunch of half humans in tanks and being cloned using the child's blood. And it seems like cloning is obviously possible. Cloning is obviously possible because of the prequels and all that good stuff. Everybody else is really bad at it besides the Caminos. So Emperor Palpatine really just did a number on himself. If he really wanted to get so many clones all the time, he probably shouldn't have betrayed the Caminos like he did. I couldn't get any of the pics of us with... Okay, so my mom has pictures of my parents with Giancarlo Esposito, a.k.a. Moff Gideon. And there's a picture there's a time my dad accidentally grabs his butt, and Mr. Esposito looks very surprised and makes for a great picture. And I'm going to throw it up on the screen one of these days, but we are looking for it. So I'm not sure who they're trying to clone. Are they still just working on Emperor Palpatine? Or is this a Darth Vader clone? Because it definitely looks like old, gross Darth Vader from whenever he takes his mask off. And you need Baby Yoda's blood. You need the child's blood because it's very difficult to clone a Force-sensitive person. At the end of Rise of Skywalker, or in Rise of Skywalker, spoiler for that, but don't worry, the spoiler wampa's up, so you have been warned. Emperor Palpatine gets cloned. And it's a big deal because Force-sensitive people don't get cloned. That's a hard thing to do in the Star Wars universe. Even though it happens all the time in like expanded universe stuff, it's really weird. So I think it's Emperor Palpatine. I think they're trying to, jumpstart the Empire like that. It could be Snoke kind of stuff, but I think they're all just proto stuff that happens in the Rise of Skywalker. So I don't think there's going to be a big reveal where we'll have another Palpatine clone or something like that. One, could be very confusing, and two, just doesn't seem very good. I feel like there's other people in that era that you could use. Speaking of people in that era that you could use, Moff Gideon definitely seems like he is just pound for pound, like not a carbon copy. That sounds like he's a cookie cutter kind of villain, but he seems like he's in the space where Grand Admiral Thrawn would be. There's a power vacuum and someone needs to take over and lead the Empire. And I think this is what we were missing in the sequel trilogy. We were missing a big bad villain like this. We had Admiral Hux. We had Kylo Ren, who we always knew was just going to redeem himself. So we never fully bought into him being a villain, even though he did kill Han Solo. So I feel like Moff Gideon is really what the sequel trilogy has been missing. And seeing that trilogy, we know that Moff Gideon's probably not very successful. Maybe he has a hand in creating the First Order. That would be very cool. That this would be obviously way soon to tell. But that's exactly what I thought. I was like, you're giving me Thrawn vibes, bro. Which is really, trust me, that is a good thing to be called. That's a good compliment. That's a compliment. Because Thrawn is one of the best expanded universe characters. He has now been used in Rebels, so they can't really use him in the sequel trilogies or even in this show. So I think they did the best with what they could, but he's basically Thrawn. Very cold, calculating, a tactical genius, and obviously he inspires fear in his followers. So speaking of that scientist from season 1, we get a huge Easter egg when he says we need a specimen with a high M count. And for those of you who were like me and watched the prequels as a child, watched the prequels and didn't know they were bad until you were already a man, he means metachlorian count. Metachlorians, yes, the small itty bitty micro living organisms in your blood that make rocks float. Their DNA, all that good stuff. They're trying to explain the Force with science in the prequels and the Phantom Menace, especially. And them just saying metachlorian count because it'd make every fanboy give him one of those. Look, I watched the prequels as a child. I'm saying, which is it? Are you ashamed of the prequels, or are you going to embrace the prequels? I've come around, complete 360. I love the prequels growing up. And then there was a time I was like, they're not very good. Would stick to the original trilogies when I was doing my rewatches. Now I'm coming all the way back around. The memeability of the prequels definitely has something to do with that. But they're just so good. So good they're bad, or so bad they're good, all that good stuff. So I'm saying embrace the trilogy, the prequels. It's not like they're not canon. There's like too many people out there that hold like every Star Wars thing to heart. So you have to just go all out and embrace it, okay? I'm not saying bring Jar Jar Binks back for episode 10 or anything like that, but I'm just saying the prequels happened and it's okay to acknowledge that. Embrace your mistakes. It's not like you're going to give everybody their money back. So go ahead and embrace your mistakes. Say metachlorians when you mean metachlorians, all right? That's it. That is all. Talked about the production crew member in the background. The speeder chase was so freaking awesome. And it made me think that this was basically a Star Wars movie. It reminded me that we are getting 8 1-hour Star Wars movies every year because of The Mandalorian. And it is awesome. I love it. Carl Weathers did a great job. I don't know. I've never seen anything he's directed before. I don't know who's directly in charge of doing all the special effects or anything like that, but they did an excellent job. I thought the speeder chase scene was so great. Star Wars loves their trench runs. There was another trench run with the TIE fighters going down, chasing the good guys out. They ended up getting everybody. Mando got a lot of play with his jetpack in this episode. No flamethrower again this episode. So Mando had been using his flamethrower the first 10 episodes of the series, and the last 2, no flamethrower at all. And I'm a big proponent of that dang flamethrower. I think it's really cool. Not that it really was needed. I mean, I guess there was lava, so we didn't need a flamethrower. I'm going to take a quick swig right here, guys. Sorry, I don't have any orange slices for you purists out there. It's Blue Moon, that's why. But yeah, excellent trench run, TIE fighter. Mando hops on his jetpack, realizes that Baby Yoda's in danger, picks up Baby Yoda, hops on the Razor Crest, and shoots down all the TIE fighters. So pretty important stuff. I don't know how the Republic found out about it exactly, but they were there to interview everybody involved except for Mando because he was already gone on his way to Corvus. We find out at the end of the episode, so yes, the Imperial Base gets destroyed. The Imperials are out of Navarro, or so we think. Mando's on his way to Corvus. Grieve Karga, Cara Dune are left to their own devices, dodging the questions from the New Republic. Carson Teva. Carson Teva is like, hey, Cara Dune, I know that you're from Alderaan. Who'd you lose? Everybody, dumbass. She lost everybody. There's a whole dang planet got wiped out. She lost everybody. And so he's like, why don't you come and join the New Republic? It's different. But it's really not. So it's different, but still same, because they eventually just lose anyways because they're a bunch of losers and they return to the status quo, and I think that's really dumb. Anyways, but we find out that the Razor Crest was lowjacked by a traitor, one of the people who did the repairs. And so now Moff Gideon knows exactly where the child is. They're on their way to Corvus right now, and I do not think next episode will be the episode where it all comes to a head. I do think it's going to be a full-on Ahsoka episode because that's when Dave Filoni wrote and directed it, and Ahsoka Tano is his baby. So I'm very excited. I think they're going to meet Ahsoka Tano, and maybe it ends with Moff Gideon showing up or Boba Fett, something. I don't know what I think Boba Fett's going to do. I don't know. I don't see where he fits in, but that's a fun thing. Like, that's just, there's so many questions still. I'm still very excited to watch. So that'll be interesting to see how this all comes to a head, because you got Mando's agenda with the child. You got Ahsoka Tano, who's this wild card. You got Moff Gideon. You got Boba Fett. Like, you got the other Mandalorians if they're going to make some kind of play the New Republic. Everyone has their own agenda, so I'm very excited to see what everybody does, how everybody reacts. So I think that there'll be a point where everything comes to a head, and we get to see what everybody does in those situations. It was also revealed that Moff Gideon has this huge Imperial Star Destroyer. I know that it's a specific model because, of course, it is. It's Star Wars. I don't know what it is, but it definitely gave me Dreadnought vibes from The Last Jedi. Because of sheer size. You got a very Star Wars-esque reveal. It was a lot like the beginning of New Hope, where the cruiser's coming in and you see the lights first, and then you reveal how big the ship is. So that was very cool. I enjoyed that. So this makes me think that this isn't a one season and done kind of villain, obviously, because we had him last season, but I think that he's going to be the nemesis of Mando and Baby Yoda for the foreseeable future, till maybe the end of the show. Definitely giving off some Breaking Bad vibes. So I'm very excited, very pleased with this episode. I don't know what Gideon's end game is. I guess it's just to be the next emperor, or maybe he just doesn't know what else to do. But definitely get Admiral Thrawn vibes. I would love it if they talk about maybe the unknown regions and maybe the Imperials that went out there and found where they found Snoke. So when we talk about the Dreadnought, we see the Sith troopers, it looks like. We see these robotic soldiers, these commandos, if you will. Are they a result of any of the experimentation? I don't know. But it seems like they're going to be tough to defeat. And Mando's definitely going to need some help. Will he go back and get, what the heck's his name? The dude who was wearing Boba Fett's armor in the beginning? I'm not going to remember. Timothy Oliphant. So is it going to be kind of like last season where he goes and gets his ragtag crew together to fight Gideon? Or I think the end game would be team up with Ahsoka Tano, team up with the other Mandalorians, because there's definitely some history there, and to bring bring Mandalore back to its former glories, take on Moff Gideon. And, of course, there'll be casualties. I don't know how this will end. I don't know how the series will eventually end. But I feel like it's pushing Mando into, like, a seat of power there on Mandalore. We shall wait and see. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments. I very much appreciate it. I hope you guys liked it as much as I did, because I had a really good time with this. Episode 5 is going to be nuts. I'm really going to try and do that on Friday, but who knows? Honestly, I think I can do it, though, because I don't work too late that day. So hopefully we can watch that episode as soon as I get home and then hop on here and gush about Ahsoka Tano, Rosario Dawson. It's going to be great. I'll try to stay off Twitter as much as I can so I don't get that spoiled. But thank you guys so much for joining me here. I don't think I have any other notes. Yeah, I think that's about it. Let me know your crazy Mandalorian theories down in the comments. I very much appreciate that. And I'll see you guys hopefully on Friday, possibly Saturday. Keep an eye out there, true believers. And let me know what you guys think about the setup. Appreciate that. Goodbye. Goodbye, spoiler wampa.